Okay, this is a short video on how to access and open a DDR file, which is a file using the IDR10 to monitor battery drain, and then copying that file onto your computer where it is then opened up in the application associated with the program or with the tool. So first, you need to make sure that the Engine DAS file program is loaded on the computer. And then executing it, it may ask for a change in screen resolution. I'm going to let it default. And it's going to open up a window that looks rather plain, but there are some key selections on the left side. Now, at this point in time, this assumes that you've taken the SD card out of the IDR10 and you've copied the file onto your computer in a directory. I'd recommend using a IDR10 recording directory, and then whenever you have a recording copied in that directory, you can change its first name but leave the .ddr extension intact. So in that case, I already have a file loaded on my computer, or I can pull it directly off of the SD card. I'm going to choose to process the data. I have a dialog box that then opens up. I will then open and decode what I have. Now I've got several of these recordings, as you can see, in my IDR10 recording files folder, and I'm going to open this one here for Fusion. And it is currently opening the file and bringing the record counts in. And now what we have is a representation of battery voltage and current going into or out of the battery. Now you notice this was on a vehicle for approximately 70 hours before we actually had a battery drain event take place. So what I'm going to do is select a cursor in the upper left corner here, or put a cursor onto the screen where now you see a yellow line, a yellow reference line, and wherever this reference line gets moved along the scale of hours, the battery voltage and the current draw will then change to tell you what's going on. And you can also see it in the graph, where in this case here we're seeing declining battery voltage and potential to the point where the reserve is depleted and then the battery goes dead very quickly. And that coincides with an event where basically we had no draw and then we had key on, key off, parked vehicle draw. Now I'm going to close this box right here. This is really just a navigation screen if I needed to navigate to a prior or subsequent frame, which is about 100 hours worth of recording time. So I'm just going to close this to get it out of the way. I'm going to click on my cursor. I'm going to drag it over to the midst of the drain, and then I can tell that the battery voltage is declining. It's 11.81 at this point, and the current going out of the battery is 1.5 amps. And we can actually see when that happened, how many hours into the event. And a matter of fact, it will also tell us what the date and time was associated with wherever my cursor is placed. So if I drag my cursor back to when this event began, and by began it means basically something other than what nominal undrained situation is, you notice that also the time has gone back to December 9th at 2:26 p.m. Whereas last time the vehicle was operated, December 9th at 8:33 a.m. Things were normal. The vehicle was started and run twice, but then after the second time, the drain remained. In this case here, it was an 8-pin. So the IDR10 pretty much showed us what we need to do to recreate the situation.